Hello there. Welcome to this week's edition of BOI Weekly. I am Victoria Longjan. The Bank of Industry's quest to empower Nigerians in various sectors of the economy is the reason behind the creation of the BOI Intervention Fund Scheme. Now, the scheme aims to empower micro, small and medium entrepreneurs. Now, since the disbursement of these BOI loans, many of these entrepreneurs have taken their businesses to greater heights as they continue to access funds from the Bank of Industry. One of such beneficiaries is Mrs. Munira Shonibare, who is the Chief Executive Officer and founder of IO Furniture Limited, based in the city of Lagos. IO Furniture Limited is considered one of Nigeria's leading interior furniture manufacturing companies, founded in 1992. Now, the company's products include soft spring mattresses, foam mattresses, firm mattresses, and household furniture, amongst others. Now, on this week's edition of the program, we take a look at how Munira Shonibare's company is adding value to the economic development of the country. Once again, welcome to the program. Welcome back. Now, as usual, our team visited the office and showroom of 30-year-old IO Furniture Limited, located at number 68 Industrial Street, off Town Planning Way, Ilupeju, Lagos. Now, with the third facility from the Bank of Industry, Mrs. Shonibare talks to our crew about the impact of the credit facility on her business and how the journey actually began. This was this report.
Stuff. Can we have a box of this? Can we have one box? One box.
Munira Shonibare is an interior designer who specializes in the manufacturing of exquisite household furniture, mattresses and other items that appeal to everyone with a good sense of taste and quality. Her company, IO Furniture Limited, driven by a passion of creativity and design, started business in 1992. According to Mrs. Shonibare, her quest to start the company began as an idea, having studied interior design. With a ban on importation of furniture into Nigeria at a time, IO Furniture Limited expanded from an interior design outfit into a manufacturing company. The company prides itself as a full-service interior design, retail and furniture manufacturing company characterized by uncompromising quality and innovative design solutions. She takes Channel's television crew down memory lane, explaining how the company began with just 10 workers.
IO started, it was more of an idea at first. My background is in interior design. I studied interior design in Italy 1982 to 84, and then worked with an architectural company as an interior designer. And the desire was to practice as an interior designer. But then I began to experience a lot of challenges with sourcing for locally manufactured items by local industries. They either did not meet the required standards, the quality was always an issue. And at first, I used to support the interior design, I used to bring in, import the furniture and accessories. And government policy changed. There was a ban on furniture. I didn't want to get involved in, the importing items illegally. So, embarked on the backward integration by setting up the manufacturing, just so that I could have total control over quality, time, and the design. So we started as a really cottage industry with about 10 factory workers, 10 carpenters in production, using very manual machinery and manual tools. We had a team of about 4 interior designers, 2 or 3 people on the shop floor. So in total, there were no more than 15, 20 of us as a company. So it started really, really small. We sort of grew organically. The growth was organic. The turnaround happened after I executed quite a large project, the Transcorp Hilton, where they asked us to refurbish the rooms. And that gave me, at the time that was happening, there was that really strict ban on furniture. And as I said, because I didn't want to embark on furniture, I approached my suppliers in Italy and asked them if they were willing to come and set up a factory here. And they actually explored the possibility and said yes. So we came up with a plan. They came down to Lagos, looked at, because we were working out of this space at the time, at the same space. Came up with did all the numbers, and that gave me the courage to put up a business plan, of course, and then approach BOI for a loan at the time. So that's what gave birth to IU Furniture.
What year was
This was in 2000, and we started manufacturing here manually in 1992. But that restructuring happened in 2006, 2007. So we've been here for 30 years as a manufacturing company. Creativity and design, yes, that is my passion. That's what I wake up every day and look forward to enjoy doing. The interior design and the arts is my passion. Manufacturing, I got overtaken by events. As I said, I never ever foresaw a career in manufacturing. But what's important is I identified experts in manufacturing by collaborating with Italians. That's what they do. That's their forte. That's what they do exceptionally well. They're the leaders in furniture, etc., etc. As I said, backward integration to address the needs of the market.
The desire to expand the business led Mrs. Shonibare to approach the Bank of Industry for a credit facility, a decision she describes as her best business resolution.
I first of all took a loan from commercial banks, Sterling Bank and Access Bank. And we started to struggle with repaying the loans. I think the interest rate at the time was about 25-26%. And luckily, Central Bank came up with the BOI Intervention Fund. And that's how we heard about it. So there was a BOI Intervention Fund. And of course, we heard about it. And we applied. I have to say the process was painless. They were really, really, really helpful, very, very supportive. And I'll tell you what it did for us, especially as an SME. It actually encouraged and made us begin to keep our books properly and ensure that we document properly, because most SMEs don't really pay attention or appreciate the importance of ensuring that your documents are in order, so that you give yourself that really good corporate rating and the corporate governance. So I'll tell you the value. The value that BOI has added is in ensuring that you pay attention to corporate governance. You ensure that you keep your books in order, so that when you're applying for the loan, it's easy for them to process. There's also a bit of hand-holding because they come over, they inspect, and I think we're on our third or fourth loan from BOI, because every time we want to grow. And I'll tell you what it did. The loan, we experienced a 1,000% growth due to the loan. So from employing, I think, 40 people, we grew to we're currently at 130. The turnover grew from 40-50 M to over 1 billion because of the loan. Because at least with the money, we also make sure that whatever it is you have to do the numbers. You have to make sure they're very clear about what you're taking and utilizing that loan for. So we were sure that it was for the machinery, equipment, and of course making sure one has a complete understanding of the capacity of the equipment and the market that the market is there for your products. So it was a really interesting learning curve for us because it forced me to begin to pay attention to ensuring that we were able to meet the numbers to pay off the loan. Application, we apply again. We took the first loan, which we paid off over 6 years. So did that successfully. We applied for a second loan that was a much smaller amount, paid that off in about a year or two, and we're currently on our third one. As a matter of fact, we got the award for best performing SME from BOI, so we're very proud of that fact. So you ensure that once you pay, the process gets easier and easier and easier because then you've built and established trust, and you become a regular customer of BOI.
With innovation, functionality, and style at the heart of their operation, they deliver perfection consistently, but that is not without the challenges.
Constantly reappraising the business. You've got to constantly appraise your business, the performance of the business, bearing in mind the fast changing environment that one is catering to, and learning to make sure that you develop the ability to adapt, to evolve, to make the required adjustment quickly. 2020 was a huge, I believe, lesson for everybody because 2019 we sat as a company, came up with a strategy that we're going to diversify into retail because we're predominantly a B2B business, just catering to other businesses, banks, the hospitality industry, real estate, and all of that. And then COVID struck. So we had to get back to the drawing board and decide that, oh gosh, now we've got this pandemic that nobody was prepared for, nobody saw coming. What do we need to do differently? How do we remain a sustainable business? How do we continue to generate income? How do we continue to be customer-centric? So we fast-tracked our e-commerce platform, which we had been, toying with. But e-commerce platform, we had said we were going to begin 2021. And with COVID, we fast-tracked it to 2020. And that was how we could stay in business during the pandemic because we make sure that we established the e-commerce platform and people could go online, order their goods, and then we would make the deliveries for them. Of course, the items changed. We are talking about much smaller items as opposed to the huge, but it sustained us until, we all started to recover from the pandemic. And from an interior design perspective, of course, how you begin to utilize spaces, we began to offer people various ideas about how you have multitasking because a lot of people found themselves suddenly at home, working from home, and had to make that adjustment and convert their spaces into work areas as well, and how to do that without getting too claustrophobic or feeling confined. So it's been a really sort of interesting journey. It's constantly evolving. It's, as I said, we collaborate with a lot of local manufacturers, and the bed desk, we identified it through one of our suppliers. We had it in our showroom, and nobody paid. It wasn't. We had one or two people buying it, but people didn't pay much attention to it. Come COVID, and suddenly you're stuck at home all day, not enough space or room for a desk or table, and suddenly the bed desk became a hit because you could sit in your room at your bed, have this desk, have your laptop or your iPad on it, and work with a little space for your drink or your phone, and people found it really, really, really useful. So that was it was a very successful product. First of all, you've got to articulate exactly what it is you're offering. What is it you want to do? You've got to articulate that first. Secondly, know your market. Who's your target market? Who are you catering to? is there a need for your product or service? Make sure you have that very clear um, identification. Most importantly, do your numbers. Sit with somebody who's been there, done that, especially about numbers. We don't, as an entrepreneur, I made that mistake. I just focused on my passion. Oh, I love, designing spaces for people. I love selling furniture without doing the numbers. What's your what are your fixed costs? What are your profit margins? How much of various items do you need to sell to break even? How much do you need to sell to make a profit? Who are your target audience? What do they want? What is the selling cycle? What's their what's their buying pattern? So for us, for instance, our busiest period, Q4, from October to December, it's manic. Our quiet periods are between January and March. April, May, June, you find that then people are investing again. July, August, everybody's on holiday. September, people are paying school fees. So, huge expenditure. So nobody wants to be talking about anything else. Then come December, everybody's preparing for the festive season. They want to uplift or upgrade the looks, their homes and their spaces. So you've got to understand all of that. You've got to have a complete understanding of the business or service you're going to be providing, and make sure you're on top of the numbers. No, it was the intervention fund. Of course, if you're in business, it's your responsibility to make sure that you find out everything there is about the business. It's your responsibility to know exactly what financial options there are available. You've got to. You can't say you're a business person and not inform yourself, not become knowledgeable about the environment you're operating in, from funding to the marketing and sales, to operations, to admin. You've got to ensure that you're constantly updating yourself about what's going on in your environment and how the regulations or the environment affects whatever is happening affects your business, be it finance, operations, marketing. You have to, otherwise the business it won't be sustainable. I also have, maybe it's my upbringing. You can fall, but pick yourself up. You have to. You can't just refuse to stay down. The curveballs will come. One of my favorite philosophies is, look, I have absolutely no control over, like COVID demonstrated. I have absolutely no control over what's going to get thrown at me, what the curveball is going to be, but I have control over how I choose to respond. So, yes, disasters happen, and you have two categories of people. People who decide, oh, it's all over, or all right, so disaster has struck, I'm going to start all over again. And it's that willingness to start all over again. I think I'm an optimist by nature. For me, the alternative is not an option. The alternative is just not an option. You've got to keep looking up. And yes, we've had some really tough. We've had a fire here before, 2017. We had a terrible fire. A third of the company was completely gutted out. And at the time, I had my staff all looking at me and thinking, gosh, is it over? And we spent 2-3 days trying to put out the fire. And at the end of it all, I just called for a meeting with everybody. I said, listen, we've had a fire. Thank God no one has died. Nobody got injured. Nobody even went to hospital for any issues whatsoever. Thank God. I said, I'll tell you what's happened. all of us here, we all just have more work to do. So let's start.
From their signature classics to their custom project designs such as bed desk, wooden cup holders, IO Furniture Limited has built a stellar reputation for excellence, quality, reliability and integrity as the company rose from a major setback to claim its place as a market leader in the furniture manufacturing industry. IO Furniture Limited is a global interior design and manufacturing company with its core operations involving interior design, consultancy, manufacture of bespoke furniture. Speaking from 30 years of experience in the business, Mrs. Shonibare has words for young entrepreneurs and the Bank of Industry.
Oh, it's to thank, first of all, to thank BOI for being our partners, for being our collaborators, for listening, for adding the real value to supporting industries in Nigeria to grow. Because honestly, without BOI giving us the sort of financial support that we require, we would not exist. We simply would not exist. So it is just to continue to do more of the same. I don't even have to think about it. Skilled manpower. People ask every day, what are your challenges? I go power and manpower. We have to invest in people. We have to. We've got to invest in our youth. We simply have to invest in people. 70% of our population are 35 and under. We've got to invest in them. That's the future. No industry or economy is sustainable without the right people, without educated and informed people. It's not sustainable. I think we need to. There's a lot of. There's still a lot is being done, but there's still a lot of ground to cover. From where I'm standing, I believe we need to invest a lot more in the vocational training and the technical schools. Not everybody can be, we can't all be doctors and lawyers and engineers and architects. We need that solid support structure of, with the lawyers, you need the paralegals, with the doctors, you need the nurses, with an industry such as ours, we need the machinists, we need the carpenters, we need the upholsterers, we need the painters, we need the joiners. Where are they? You can't find, there are no technical schools that will teach you how to do proper. We need the electricians, we need the mechanics. Who's going to, your machine breaks down. Every time we're going to set up a new machine, we have to fly in an expatriate because we don't have machinists that are experienced enough to program the 21st century equipments that are being done today. So those vocational schools have to happen. And then they've got to begin to also take a critical look at the curriculum that are introduced in universities and in tertiary institutions. Take Germany, for instance. Universities are free. The technical and vocational schools you've got to pay for because that is where the demand is. That's one. Secondly, there is a collaboration between academia, government, and industry, i.e., they are constantly talking to the industrialists to find out what they require, what sort of skilled manpower they require. Government invests in that skilled manpower. Academia churns them out to support industry. So it works. We have had to introduce our own training for our carpenters, for our sprayers, for our upholsterers, for our interior designers. It's now part of it's part of the business. a very robust training program, it distracts from what we're supposed to be doing, because you are forced to become a school as well. We do, and we suffer the risk of you invest and train and they get poached by everybody. So it's a cycle. And yes, we console ourselves by saying, well, that's the contribution and that's the impact that we have on our community, fine. But it can be, it's expensive.
Welcome back. Now, over the years, the Bank of Industry has continued to provide interventions for various industries to thrive. And believe me, there's more where that came from. Now, these interventions have made tremendous positive impact on the lives of the beneficiaries and the country at large. There's also the optimism that the interventions will make meaningful contributions to the nation's socio-economic development. Now, are you an entrepreneur out there or know anyone in need of support to grow his or her business? Kindly visit any of the branches of the bank closest to you or log onto their website at www.boi.ng. Or you can also follow the bank on all social media platforms as displayed on your screen. And that's it on this week's edition of the program. I am Victoria Longjohn. Many thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.